Hey, everybody. Thank you for being here for a fun edition today on Facebook Live and elsewhere, on iHeartRadio, on YouTube, and everywhere else you can find me. Welcome to Deborah Kobylt Live, and that was Dreams Come True by my guest in studio today, by Rebecca Holden. Rebecca, thank you for being here.
Thank you. What a treat to be here with you, Deborah.
And your producer and husband of only 3 little years. You guys have that glow going, that newlywed glow of 3 years. Joel Diamond, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Now, we brought in, as you can see, an enormous studio audience here at the Sunset Gower studio, right? They're all on the other side, and they're so excited to be here to listen to what you guys have to say. So let me introduce you. For those of you who don't know, Joel Diamond, aside from being a friend of ours, you are a 2-time Grammy-nominated producer, director, and music. You're a real staple. You produced 36 gold and platinum records, and you have 54 recordings on the Billboard charts, right? Mm-hmm. You've worked with Engelbert Humperdinck. Did I say that right?
Very
finally.
Oh,
yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
We practiced this off camera. Gloria Gaynor, David Hasselhoff, and so many others, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Absolutely.
so many. We're going to get through that during the show. And Rebecca, one of the original gorgeous Breck girls. I remember seeing that commercial thinking, gosh, could I look like her? And I look at you now and I think, gosh, can I look like her? You have gorgeous hair then, you have gorgeous hair now, and you're a beautiful person. But you've done so much in your career. I mean, just watching your reel last night, I thought, oh, I remember that. I remember that. So aside from being a Breck girl, you were on T.J. Hooker, Magnum P.I., Remington Steele. We're getting to all this later. And Knight Rider. You're well known for being on the show Knight Rider.
Yes. Still in syndication around the world.
How many countries?
Over 200.
Okay, I'm always curious. When you go to other countries, do you get recognized a lot for that show?
Yes, in fact, there are Knight Rider events held all over the world.
And you get to go?
UK, Milan, yes, and it's really fun. That show has developed a sort of a cult following with club members of the Knight Rider hobby all over the world. They build the kit cars, replicas. They have parades. It's really fun.
That must make you feel so proud to be part of a show that people still love so much.
Yes, that resonated with them. And the theme of the show was one person can make a difference. So I think that is sort of carried on as sort of the legacy for the show. And then people share it with their kids. And it's nice to have had a show with family values and good versus evil and good guy wins. And
there's not too many of that going on today now, right? I mean, the entire face of television really is changing a lot, right?
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
I was watching 60 Minutes the other night, and I said to John, I said, I wonder how many more nights and years we're going to be sitting down and watching a program that, in fact, is supposed to be on at 7 o'clock at night. That's just not going to be happening anymore. Everything is streaming.
Yes.
The entire business is changing so rapidly, which I personally think is a good thing because you can pick and choose when you want it and then sit down and watch it when you want it.
Yes.
Do you think?
Yes, very true. It also changed the Knight Rider family because they found each other on the internet that has similar likes, and then they go to these events and they meet each other in person. So it's sort of nice to be a part of something that has brought people together around the globe.
I really think so. I also think there's probably a lot more work going on there for actors and actresses, right? Because there's so much more programming.
Yes. The available venues for content now.
Tell me how you two met. You met, what, I guess 6 years ago. You've been married 3 years. How did that go?
Well, we met originally many years ago in New York, and then we re-met at an autograph signing. I was there doing a
So Joel was just smitten, and he said, oh, my gosh, I got to reconnect with her. Tell me how that went, Joel.
Well, I was smitten the first time I met her, and that was in New York a long time ago.
Yeah.
And
you always had your eye on her. You kept it in the back of your mind.
somewhere in the back of my mind, and then that one fateful day that she was doing an autograph signing at Hollywood Burbank, and I wasn't going to go. A friend of mine was dragging me to go, and what induced me to go was the fact he told me that Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff's granddaughters were going to be there.
With their
And
memorabilia.
With the memorabilia, and I was big fans of Boris Karloff.
Oh, really?
That's the only reason I went.
Oh, and then you show up, and there's Rebecca. You're like, wow.
Yeah, and we chatted and
Grabbed her number.
And
Took him 2 months to convince me to go to dinner, but then every night we had dinner and talked until the waiters were saying, excuse me, we're closed. And been talking ever since.
Wow. So a little bit about your career. I mean, you've had quite an illustrious career. How did you start? You told me you're a Jersey guy. So
I'm a Jersey guy, just like you and John.
That's right. And Jersey people have a bond.
As a matter
right?
of fact, John's doctor also, let's give him a plug, Dr. Dan.
He's still alive?
Yes. I put John on the phone with him.
You did?
Yes.
Wait, Dan who?
Dan Conti.
Oh, I used to hear about that guy.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you think back and you go, these people are still alive. So you guys had the same doctor?
Well, yeah, sort of, yes. Dr. Dan was from, Saddlebrook.
Saddlebrook, New Jersey. That's where John grew up. Yeah.
I know.
However, you got your start doing bar mitzvahs. John did not. So let's talk about that. So what? You just showed up at bar mitzvahs and started singing and dancing on tables, or how did that work?
No, actually, I didn't leave New Jersey until I was 26 years old. My father had my whole life planned out for me.
Insurance sales, right?
Well, yeah, then I would finish high school and go to college, go in the Army, which is all in New Jersey.
And take over your father's business.
Yeah, and then take over my father's business. And
well, that was the way, I suppose, then, right?
Of course. And you know, did you ever see that scene in The Jerk with Steve Martin, where he's like wiggling his toes, says, "Something's wrong here," and that's what I felt like selling life insurance.
Well, I kind of know how that feels, because when I was in high school, I needed a job, right? And you know, I went to like a temp agency, and I was sitting there doing bookkeeping, and I'm thinking, oh no, I am not cut out to be a bookkeeper. Now, mind you, I am very good with numbers, but sitting at the desk, no, it's not my thing. Tony, could you imagine me sitting at a desk all day? Wouldn't happen. So I remember calling my mom after the first day, and I said, please, I can't do this. I can't. And she said, just come home. So I finished out my day, and I came home, and, you know, go to school, and you study, and you just make your way into where you belong.
You had another calling.
I had another calling, but, you know, a lot of people aren't brave enough to go there.
It takes a lot of chutzpah.
It takes some chutzpah. But you know what? If you're miserable, you got to do what you got to do.
I wasn't really miserable at the time. I was actually making $1 million round table selling life insurance.
Really?
Oh, yeah, I was doing really good at it. And
wow.
And then what happened was that one of the agents came in the office, and he said to me, he said, you know, when I was younger, I was singing, and I played accordion. And
accordion, okay.
Accordion. He never had an opportunity to bust out, though, because he had 5 kids. He said, and he knew I loved to sing. And he said, you know something, why don't you sit in with us this weekend at the Holiday Inn in Wayne, New Jersey?
And you must have been very excited.
Oh, I was thrilled.
Oh, my, the Holiday Inn in Wayne.
I became a permanent fixture of the George Meltzer Trio.
The George Meltzer Trio. And they were asking for you by name. Bring that Joel Diamond to the George Meltzer Trio at the Holiday Inn in New Jersey. Okay, so skip a couple years for me. So there you were performing at the Holiday Inn, feeling like a big guy. Yeah. Right? And getting your feet wet.
I don't know if I was feeling like a big guy or not.
But you know what I mean, getting your feet wet.
Getting my feet wet, I was enjoying it.
Yeah.
And then, as it turned out, some guy from a clothing store in Passaic, where I was born and raised, said to me, are you still singing at the Holiday Inn? I said, yeah. He said, I have a client that writes songs. He said, maybe you and he could get together. Arnold Capitanelli, who is also a patient of Dr. Dan.
Okay, what is it? There's a connection. We're going to call Dr. Dan on the way out of here. It's like, you don't even know me, but guess what? Okay, so this patient of Dr. Dan calls you, and you got a gig writing music?
So we got together, and he said to me at the time, he said, do you know anybody in the music business? And I didn't want to lie to him, but I knew I had the capability of knowing everybody in the music business.
Yeah, well, you got to do what you got to do.
You got to do what you got to do. That's what I told Rebecca all the time. You got to do what you got to do.
You know, Kaylee is an actress, and they probably say, can you sing, dance, and tap dance? Yep, I can tap dance. And meanwhile, you're going and getting your lessons at 8 o'clock at night to figure it out.
Of course.
Yeah.
So actually, and I did good for him. I got him his first hit record, and then one thing led to another, and I met this gentleman who offered me a job, my first full-time job in the music business at Mercury Records, MRC Music in New York.
And what did you do? You were writing music for artists?
I was running the publishing company, and he said to me, you know, he knew me.
Yeah.
He had spent some time with me, and he said, I just got elevated to the head of A&R, and he said,
A&R Records?
No.
Artist
and Repertoire of Mercury Records, A&R department.
Sorry. Okay, go ahead. I'm thinking I know it all. You know, I did my research. All right, so go ahead.
And he said to me, he said, you know, they want me to choose my own successor, and you are the least qualified.
Oh.
But I have the most confidence you could do it. And that was the beginning. And then Clive Davis hired me. I ran CBS Music after that.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's-
but in between. And Tommy Mottola, you worked with Tommy Mottola.
no, he worked with me.
He worked with you.
I gave
I
him,
like that.
Yeah, I gave him his first job in the music business.
You did.
Oh yeah, he was he just got done from Epic Records as a recording artist. His name was T.D. Valentine, and somebody said, "You got to meet this kid. He's good." I said, "Okay, I'll meet him." And he was my assistant for 2.5 years.
Really? So you gave him his start, really?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I gave David Geffen his first 7-figure deal in the business.
You did?
Oh, yeah.
Are you in touch with all these guys?
Oh yeah,
Really?
yeah. As a matter of fact, Tommy just wrote me into his book, and his documentary is coming out.
Well, you're one of these guys who has stayed clean in the business. It's a tough business to stay clean in. And whenever you look up Joel Diamond, you really can't find anything that's kind of nasty about it. Everybody likes you, Joel.
Well, thank you.
He's a likable guy.
No, well, you're an honest guy, and you've made a living in a business that's tough to make a living in. I mean, you've worked with legends. We're going to get into that a little later, too, because now I'm going to, go over to Rebecca here, and not only your acting career, but some of your music career. But, you've worked with guys, Engelbert and all kinds of folks. You've worked with Jay-Z.
Yeah.
TKO. I mean, you've worked with so many different genres.
All different. And the Five Browns, who was
The Five Browns is huge. Let's mention the Five Browns. I wasn't really that familiar with the Five Browns. I became familiar, and now I'm a big fan.
Yeah, for first family of classical music, there were 5 kids who were at Juilliard Music School at the same time, first time in history, 5 siblings, and I had a vision for them. Classical pianists. I said, let's get you all on the stage at the same time playing concert grands. And they said, you can't do it.
Do we have any video of that, the 5? I think I remember seeing that.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, that's who the Five Browns are. A lot of times people see stuff and they forget and they don't remember. And they're like, who's the Five Browns? You're like, oh, yeah. That I thought was phenomenal and quite brilliant, really,
Well,
to even
thank you.
think to put that together.
Everybody told me I couldn't do it, including
Yeah.
George Martin at the time.
Yeah.
I spoke to George Martin. He said, you'll never get 5 pianos in the studio at the same time. And
5 Steinways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they'll wash each other out.
And they had 3 #1 consecutive
Oh yeah, we had.
albums on
I
Sony
I managed and produced them. We had 3 #1 albums in a row on Sony. Yeah.
That was pretty brilliant, and I just remember seeing that. So, is this it here?
There they are. Yep, very good. You found that quick.
Yeah, Tony's on top of everything.
Hey, Tony.
Yeah, I had him on 60 Minutes. I had him on all the big shows, Jay Leno and Ellen and everybody. They're everywhere.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. We created that little butterfly effect.
I got to hear this. Hang on. Yeah. Oh, I could play that the whole show. And the 5 Steinways.
I got the exclusive
I'm getting
deal
the
with Steinway, too.
chills.
Yeah.
Oh, that is beautiful. That may be, in my book, one of the most impressive things you've done. I think that
It was one of the most
beautiful.
innovative things I've done. That's for sure.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing with Ferrante and Teicher was the only other big duo act. Now it's duo. This is 5. Never been done.
Well, let's actually segue now into Rebecca doing a duet. Do we have that? Can we do that? Because for Dreams Come True.
I'm feeling this guy could do anything.
No, Tony's on top of everything. You can send him stuff last minute, and he's got it all together. Who are you singing with here?
That's Abraham McDonald.
He's terrific.
He's a
He's
wonderful
great.
singer.
Yeah, he seems like a
Great
wonderful guy, too.
Yes. He's about 6'6", 6'7".
He won the International Oprah Winfrey Talent Contest.
Yes,
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
When? Oh, Rebecca, hang on. Let's listen to Rebecca. Beautiful, Rebecca. Let's bring it down just a little bit. This entire album, CD, collection, is a collection of duets that you're doing with all sorts of very well-known musicians. Who are some of the musicians that you're working
Legendary artists, iconic artists like
Yeah.
Engelbert, Steve Tyrell, Jack Jones, Little Anthony, Gary Puckett from the Union Gap, Tommy James, Bill Medley from the Righteous Brothers.
And you're producing this for her.
Yes.
So what gave you the idea to do this?
Well, Joel wanted my voice on a duet called Dreams Come True that we did for the album. It's sort of a classical piece with contrapuntal harmonies. It's now become the #1 wedding song on YouTube.
It is beautiful. Isn't it gorgeous? #1 wedding song? Wait a minute. How many downloads did I read that you have?
Around 58
58
million.
million.
58 million organic downloads.
Yeah.
Let's just make, views.
It's not even out yet.
Yeah, it's not even out yet. That is incredible. And now after this show, forget about it. You're going to have about 100 million now.
Well, people are just discovering this song, and it's sort of spread organically, and people are using it for their own videos, for their weddings, for their
It's beautiful.
graduations, whatever their own dream come true happens to be.
Oh.
So as it's taken off, Joel just said, well, we need to do more of this. So we started doing duets with other artists, and it's turned into an album of all different genres, all different styles of music. So that's been a true work of love, a labor of love for me, working with all these different styles of music and coordinating my voice with the style of each of these different heroes, vocal heroes of mine.
I tell you, I heard a little bit of opera in there. I heard a little bit of everything in your voice and in the way that it was produced. It's beautiful. You do have like an angelic voice, a very happy sound.
Oh, that's
You know,
nice to hear.
peaceful
What a nice,
sound.
What a nice
It's
compliment.
peaceful. It really put me at peace. And you want to hear more of it, don't you? It's really, really lovely.
And then we've even done a dance record
You
with
did?
Full Force.
Full Force out of New York. Have you heard of them? Lisa and Colt Jam.
Oh, yeah.
And they wrote and produced for NSYNC, Backstreet Boys. And we got Little Anthony, if you could dig that one up. Little Anthony, I Believe. Remember
He can
the
dig up
classic,
anything,
I
remember?
Believe?
If it's not there, he'll find it.
Rebecca and Little Anthony, I Believe. It is just spectacular.
Now, let me just ask you, do you just call people and they hear Joel Diamond's on the phone and they pick up? Are you one of those kind of guys? The answer is yes. Come on.
No, I couldn't say yes to that. No,
A little bit.
a little
Because
bit.
you're
Well,
working with some
I had to know the
huge-
people,
Yeah.
to get in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose.
But as
that's
soon
it.
as I heard Rebecca, Little Anthony, when they finished I Believe, Little Anthony went like this to Rebecca. Little Anthony, still singing, you'll see, incredible.
You worked with Benny Mardonis, too, right?
I discovered Benny Moore, Into the Night. Yeah.
My friend, do you know Katrina Carlson? That's right. My friend did a medley with him. I
Right.
love that song, and they
Yeah.
would sing it at the house, and Benny would be there, and
He's such a great
see
guy.
all the connections. I mean, eventually you end up knowing people who, we
6
all have
Degrees.
6 Degrees.
He's on the album as well.
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
Benny.
I know.
Patriotic song called United We Stand.
So you grew up in Texas.
Yes, I did. I'm a
Oh,
Texas
there-
gal through and
And
through.
there's that accent.
It
And
comes back when I talk about home.
did you always? I know it's true. It's like because when I talk about home, a little bit of the New York and the New Jersey comes in me, and then if
Yes.
I'm irritated, forget about it. So, isn't that true? That'll happen. So you have the little Texas thing going.
Yes,
I got
yeah,
the
yeah.
back east. But did you always want to be a performer?
Well, I studied music from the time I was 2nd grade, I guess piano, and then I was a music major, voice and piano in college. So I had sung in, Italian arias and French art songs, German lieder, the classical stuff. But I'd always sung country music and pop stuff on my own. And so I went to New York to continue on with music studies, and that's when an agent saw me, and I became the Brett Girl and started doing a lot of national commercials.
Do we have that Brett Girl photo? I love that shot of the Brett Girl. I mean, that is a legendary shot. Okay, everyone remembers the Brett Girl. Everyone wanted to be the Brett Girl. They wanted to look like her. I mean, that's a huge, massive campaign. How do you get that? I
They
mean, do you
were
go on an
wonderful
audition
people.
with a bunch of women with great hair and you went out?
Pretty much, and you audition, but it was a wonderful company because the oil portraits that they did for the back covers of the magazines, they actually had your name on it and your hobby. So they thought of you as a real life person rather than just a faceless model. It was a wonderful company. I did their commercials, I did their print. So they were nice people.
It's interesting you said that. In other words, it was respectful.
Yes.
There was
And
a name to the face,
And it was wholesome.
dignified.
It was about the all-American girl.
We were talking to some friends yesterday about everyone knows what's happening with Harvey Weinstein and in this business. And a friend of ours said, back in the day, like way back in the day, when the industry was just sort of starting out, women were almost equal with the men. I mean, if you think of Lauren Bacall, and they were considered more of on an equal level. And then somewhere along the line, when films and television shows were being sold to appeal to young boys, that all of a sudden everything changed. It became more sexualized and just everything changed. And then the way that the men who were running things, because men were running things, just changed the way the business was being done. Yeah. Do you think that's true, Joel? Do you think that's true?
It's a tough call. I mean, I could say when Miramax first started out.
Yeah.
I was working with a singer named Reuben Blades.
Yeah.
And he was offered a movie called Crossover Dreams by Harvey Weinstein. Mm-hmm. And they didn't have any money.
Yeah.
And Reuben said, Harvey's looking for somebody to play the role of a record producer. And he said he wants authenticity. So actually, Harvey came up to my penthouse in New York.
Did he come on to you, Joel?
Yeah, he did act. No.
Did he leave you alone? I don't think you were his type. Fortunately, Rebecca wasn't there because she would have been his type.
Thank God she wasn't
If
there.
she was in the room, game over.
Oh, yeah. So that was it. I mean, who knew back then, you know?
So you did his first movie.
I did his first. It was one of the first movies, and I said to him, just kidding around, I said, I'll only do if I get a single frame starring credit. And sure enough, he gave me a single frame starring credit.
There you go. But I mean, as the business has evolved, it just seems as though there's been less respect for women. It almost seems like when it started out, there was more. You know, like I said, the Lauren Bacall seemed like she was on an equal footing. And who's the one who starred with Henry Fonda? The Kate, the one who always wore the pants. Come on, help me out.
Katharine Hepburn.
Katharine Hepburn.
But you know something?
But I mean, it just seemed like they were a little more in charge.
Maybe you didn't know.
Or maybe not. I don't know.
Maybe not. Maybe you didn't know back then, because with the internet today, everything's moves at the speed of light, and who knows? It could have been the same back then.
Yeah. Speaking of that, so you were on Johnny Carson. Yes. Do we have that clip? Wait, is that her coming out or no?
No, that's the intro.
I think that's the intro. He's at the desk when he intros her. I'm telling you, I've studied your reel backwards and forwards all night.
So excited to meet you.
Are you comfortable?
I am very comfortable. Perfectly delighted to be sitting in this famous chair.
Yes. Well, it's nice to have you there.
Thank you.
Do you have plans later? Silly, ridiculous statement. I shouldn't have said it, because I happen to know, number one, that you are married.
That I am, yes.
Who said boo? Oh, come on. Knight Rider. Second season?
A second season, yes.
Have you been in a series before? Have I?
No, a lot of guest starring episodes, and this is my first time as a regular on the show.
Yeah? You like it?
Having an absolute ball, yes.
They've got a lot of fancy equipment on that show, and electronic gadgetry, and...
That's right. And I play a computer whiz who programs the car.
Yeah?
You are adorable. We can bring it down now.
Born in Austin.
You know, you can tell that he's just sitting there, because I know his mannerisms. You know, he's just sitting there thinking, how can I get a date with her later? You know, he's asking the question. And how was he to you?
He's a charmer.
Mm-hmm, he is
and
charming.
The nice thing about Johnny Carson, when I look at some of the talk show hosts today, he always tried to make his guest look good.
Yes, he did. He knew how to do that.
Yeah.
He was a pro,
Yes.
and he was very funny, and he knew how to
Yes.
play to the joke. And
Yes.
I love when he would just look into the camera and just
Yes.
go, you know?
And when it didn't work, he got the biggest laugh of all.
Because that's
he
what
knew how
people
to
want to
play
see.
it.
It's like, oh my gosh, he's a regular
Yeah.
guy or gal
He
too.
used to tap
Because
the
you
mic,
loved
remember? Like it
him.
wasn't on.
Yeah, but you played right into him too. You were very sweet and charming, but you are naturally sweet and charming. But you, sorry, somebody calling me.
Oh, you're a popular girl, you
Yeah,
are.
it's like I forgot to turn my own phone off. Sorry. Speaking of screwing up, right? I mean, look what happens. My own show.
This is live.
This
That's
is live.
right, yeah.
But so, you know, did you sing on that show or no?
No, that was about promoting Knight Rider, because it was NBC, and of course Today's Show is.
So how long did you
and
work on
Tonight Show
Knight
was-
Rider? What was that like for you?
Well, I just did a season there, and then went on to do more films. But it was a great experience. It was like a family. You know, when you're a regular on a show, you get to be very, very close, and you spend more time with the cast and crew than you do with your own family most of
And
the time.
what was it like working with them? David, right?
We're still friends to this day.
Well, you're singing with him, right?
Yes.
With David
Yeah,
Hasselhoff.
yeah,
So I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
But
He's a
what
great
was he
guy.
like to work with?
A real pro.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he's been very, very open about his problems with substance and so on, which he was dealing with back then. But he never missed a day. He was always on time. He took his work very, very seriously, and was very grateful for the opportunity.
So you've had so many guest starring roles. What are some of the shows that stand out for you that you loved? And also, can we just run some of the some of the pictures of some of the shows that she's been on as well? We can even speak to them as they move on.
Well, I did a lot of the dramatic episodic stuff from Magnum P.I. and Remington Steele and Quincy and all those shows, but I also loved doing the comedy, like Three's
You're
Company
great.
and Barney Miller Night Court.
Terrific at comedy.
I love
You've
comedy.
got great comic time.
Thank you. I've always found that comedy it's rhythmical. You know, so it goes
Yes.
along with the music thing because it's how a line is written and it's the timing is everything. Yeah.
So did
That's
you
how the
two?
laugh lands.
Yeah. Did you two hit it off immediately? Because you with your music, you with your television. Is that something that was sort of an instant connection?
Yes and no. I think most of our conversations in the beginning were not even about music or acting. They were just about life.
Yeah. And where you wanted to be, and just
Yeah, and it just morphed into this whole thing.
Into being a real blessing now to be able to actually work together. It's something that we love. I mean, I've always felt very fortunate to be able to make a living at something I actually love to do. How rare that is today. And I remember how I'm very aware and conscious how rare that is and what a privilege it is.
Particularly, by living here, we're able to do that.
Yes.
And
to
so
be
many
able to do it
people,
then.
around the world can't.
Yes.
And those of us who get up and just take it for granted, so many people around the world just will never, ever get that opportunity to be free enough to wake up and do what they love to do. So,
And then to be able to do it together is truly a blessing.
yeah. So give me some stories. You got to have some
Oh,
good
God.
stuff in the music business, something that nobody would know.
I got tonnage.
Hit me up.
Nah, I got tonnage. Like what? Give me an example.
With a good one where I'm going to go, and you can imagine I've heard it all.
Well,
But
the David Hasselhoff story.
give it.
That I was living in New York City at the time,
Yeah.
in Central Park South, and his newly engaged wife, Catherine Hickland, called me, and she said, and I knew Catherine since she was 17 from Miami, and she said, I'm in town with my fiance. She didn't tell me who it was, and we just did the Regis show, and could we come up and say hi to you? And I said, yeah, come on up. And she walks in with Hasselhoff.
Yeah.
And that was after Knight Rider, before Baywatch. So he was unemployed, basically.
Yeah.
And he saw my gold and platinum records hanging on the wall, and he said, I would love to sing. Nobody's ever given me a chance to sing. And he told me, he said, he's gotten turned down by every single record label. And
See, you see things in people that maybe somebody else wouldn't.
I don't know if I saw anything, but I said, just by the mere fact of Knight Rider, which he had done, you got to sell 1 million albums.
Yeah.
And he said, nobody wants it. So I took money out of my pocket. I went into the studio. I had a record deal that time at Sony, and I had to convince them, almost beg them, to put out the album. And they put out the album, and it bombed. Horribly. It was 1 year later, I get a call from Sony International. And she said, it was a woman, she said, do you know you have the #1 album in Germany this week? You're
And you said,
outselling
"Who?"
Madonna. Exactly what I said.
Who?
Who? That's exactly what I said.
Which one of my people?
You're outselling Madonna and Michael Jackson together. I said, oh my God, who is it? They said, David Hasselhoff.
Did you fall off the chair?
Yes.
Did you call him? I mean, that must have at least perked him up because, he's gone through a lot of ups and downs.
Oh,
so.
yeah. He perked him up now. He's selling out stadiums around the world. And he's sang on Broadway, and he's got Jekyll and Hyde. And, all of a sudden he has a big singing career.
Yeah, good for him.
Good for him is right.
Well, because, artistry is artistry. And it very much blends over. I mean, an actor and an actress very often can act and can dance and in a way should be able to. Yeah, I can't sing to save my soul, so I'm not even an actress. But I mean, singing.
You're very good at what you do.
Thank you.
Gifted.
But thank you very much. But it does cross over, and a lot of people don't realize that because you get pigeonholed into one thing. And he was Knight Rider.
He was Knight Rider.
But
yeah.
wait, he also did Baywatch.
And he was also Snapper on Young and Restless.
Yeah, so he had a career. I mean,
Oh,
the guy had a
yeah.
career. The guy really had a career.
Yeah, and after my album came Baywatch, and then it was all over.
I got to ask you. You go to the Clive Davis party every year for the Grammys.
Pre-Grammys, yeah.
Pre-Grammy party. That's a fun party. What was it like the year? sadly, when Whitney Houston passed
Oh,
away.
boy.
That was horrible.
Oh yeah, I remember Clive getting up on stage and he was, in tears because everybody told him to cancel the show, and he wouldn't cancel. He said Whitney would not have wanted me to cancel the show. And it was that night, actually, I think.
Such a tragedy.
Oh,
Wasn't it the night before? It
was it the night before, the night of? I don't remember.
It was the night of.
Before, yeah, okay.
No, it was the night before because they very quickly produced a tribute to her. Remember? And
Yeah,
I'm thinking,
yeah.
wow, did they pull that off? But professionals can do that.
Yeah,
and everybody rallied together to give her a tribute. Horrifying.
It was a very strange vibe, obviously, that night.
But she passed after the party, didn't she? Or was it before?
Before. Before,
Oh.
because they were telling Clive to cancel the party. And
Oh, they
he's-
want him to cancel
Oh,
the party.
yeah. Oh, yeah. And he said she would not want me to do that.
Well, how do you cancel the party? And you're right. I mean, you just have to stand up and tell everyone what happened. Oh, that was a terrible tragedy.
Yeah, horrible.
But that's other than that year, that's a terrific party to go.
Oh, it's the best.
Everyone
It's the
who's
best.
anyone in the music industry.
It's the best. We saw Rod Stewart there last year, and I hadn't seen him since Mercury Records. And he said, Joe, he put his arms down. He said, you know Rod Stewart? Yeah.
It's a nice
He knows
reunion night.
everybody, right?
Yeah. Those parties are great.
Oh, are you kidding? Yeah, it's like a little reunion. It's like a high school reunion in a way. Everybody getting together. It's like, oh, we got to work together again next year. How has the industry changed, though, from when you first started producing music to now?
Immensely.
Tell me.
But I think it changed for the better.
Yeah, I think so too. Same with television and everything else is going on. I actually think it's for the better. People who can complain and they want to sort of stay in the same trap.
You can't.
You can't. Exactly. You can't.
You gotta move ahead.
We'd still be driving chariots.
You're right.
Am I right?
You're absolutely correct.
Right? I'd still have the horse and buggy out front.
Yeah.
So tell me.
I think the sounds have not changed that much. It's just how you get the record out there, which segues perfectly into our new project with the pendant.
Tell me about it. Do we have that photo?
You want to talk about it? Go on.
Well, Joel can tell you about how the business has changed since he started, but people used to buy whole albums.
Yeah,
and
first it was the album.
Yes.
Then it was the CD, right? And
Cassette?
oh my gosh, I skipped over something. Wait. What was it like? What did they do?
No, it was-
Album, 8-track.
No, it was a 78. Then it was a 33.
You're aging
The
yourself,
album.
darling. Okay,
45.
keep going.
My parents had
Wasn't a
78.
stone tablet? Okay, no, sorry about that.
No, it was a wine thing with Edison.
I have one of those upstairs in my library. I do.
See, I told you.
I do. I bought it off the streets in New York. I thought it was incredible. I paid the guy cash, and we rolled it back to the apartment.
Oh, that's
Swear to God.
great.
Next time you come over, I'll show it to
That's
you. Oh no, you'll
great.
love it. It's upstairs in the library.
I would
love
love
that
to
thing.
see that.
And I have and it came with all the records too.
No.
These big, thick. What are they? 78s?
Yeah,
Oh,
78s.
sounds good.
And they used to break, remember? Used to,
Yeah, moving it out here, half
yeah.
of them broke.
Oh,
but-
yeah,
but,
sure,
yeah.
sure. So it went from 78 to 30. And don't forget the 8 tracks.
So 78s, albums, 8 tracks, cassettes,
Cassettes.
CDs.
45s after
Oh my
the
gosh, I'm getting
33s.
confused. 45s are the little ones?
Yeah, with the big hole in the
ones,
middle.
yeah.
With the big hole in the middle, and then you needed the disc, right?
The what?
The little disc. You had to put a little disc
Oh,
in it.
disc.
So the
The
disc.
Disc.
D-I-S-K,
Okay,
disc.
okay.
I don't know where you're going, but a little disc, and you put the little record on there. Right? Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You're absolutely
Yes.
correct.
I used to have a little record player too, so I remember.
Yeah.
I remember. Okay, and now look.
And now
So
look.
Now
it's-
look, there's a pendant there, and you can wear a little pendant and stick a drive in there.
It's revolutionary. That Nobody has ever done this before. And we've got Stephen Zale, who's one of the finest jewelers in the world. He's originally from the Zale family, Zale Jewelers. And he got so carried away with this project that after he met Rebecca, he said, I want to create a line for Rebecca Holden called Dreams Come True. And then I came up with the idea. I said, nobody has ever inserted and sold a high-end piece of jewelry with a flash drive inside.
Well, okay, and so what's in there?
So
Then you
we're
would
gonna be
wear
s-
this little
yeah.
pendant around your neck. I'm guessing women will, not really the men. And
Men too.
although it's
We're
for
making
anybody.
dog tags for the men.
Oh, dog
They're-
tags for the
they're
guys.
so cool looking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unisex.
Yeah.
And then you just open it up, and you've got the little jump drive in there.
No, you push down the bookmark, and it
Oh.
releases the flash drive from the bottom. So now all the
Oh, that
cars.
is very cool.
Yeah, all the cars have USB. Drive it. You put it in your car, or you put in your computer, listen to the album, and then you could put your own songs and your own pictures and your own album.
Everything that's special
I
to
love
you,
this.
your own
Yeah.
dreams come true, you wear next to your heart. So your dreams are always
It's a
right
first.
there.
That is truly brilliant, and it's really a lovely piece of jewelry, I have to say. How
We're
large is it?
very
It's really
excited.
pretty.
Do you have it there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We're showing it right there. There it is. Oh, that's
and the
beautiful.
flash drive is right inside. Because it's become a one-song download world. And you were talking about where the music business went.
Yeah.
And so this is the way that you can buy the whole album together with the jewelry in one.
And I'm going to be scanning each piece, each flash drive, so that the fun part for me as a music person is that when this jewelry starts selling and Steven Zale thinks it's going to go through the roof, you know,
I'd buy it.
you only need 10,000 pieces to get on top 10 in Billboard, and everybody's going to say, where'd that come from?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that part I love.
Yeah. Well, you're a master. You know how to market stuff. I mean, that's
Oh,
your
thanks.
gift, aside from, you know, understanding and seeing talent.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're a master at it. That's fantastic. But getting back a little bit to the whole genre of music and how it's changed, you know what? There was After the Lovin' with Engelbert.
That's a great story, too.
Tell me. Bring it on.
There was nothing on the radio that ever sounded like After the Loving
Yeah.
in 1976. And after I cut it with Engelbert, I produced it with Engelbert, I knew we'd have a tough time with it. And I spent 24/7 on the phone with radio stations, little tiny radio, what they call secondary and tertiary radio stations, because I knew none of the big stations would play it. It sounded like nothing on the radio. So there's one woman up in Buffalo who had a little cockamamie station, and a big promotion guy, the national promotion guy, was driving home one night, and he was tired of hearing all the music, and he put on this same little radio station, and he heard After the Loving by Engelbert Humperdinck. And he said, wow, that's a great record. And he called the radio stores, the record stores the next morning. He said, did you by any chance get a call for a record called After the Loving? He said, and they said, yeah, as a matter of fact, we got about 5 or 10 calls for it. So he went to the biggest radio station in Buffalo, New York. And he said, I'm not going to ask you if you're going to play this record, when are you going to play the record? And they put it on, and the phones lit up. And then it spread from there. It was the biggest record he ever had.
What was he like to work with?
Engelbert?
Yeah.
Oh, great. He was a pleasure to work with. He's so talented.
And still performing.
Yeah.
He's 80 years old, and he's still. I mean,
All these guys
he's
are
on
older
stage.
and they're still performing. Okay, look, a friend of mine, he's a dentist, just had Tony Orlando perform on his 85th birthday.
Really?
Yeah, he has him flown in every 5 years for his birthday. I mean, you can imagine the money he's making. Dental work, everybody. Get into the get into the dental business. You will always have a job. I'm telling you. This is what I told my kids, and they're like, I don't think so. But yeah, so he's able to fly him in every year, every 5 years.
If I may say, the thing
Yes.
he has up on the screen there, you
Yeah.
want to hear? Can you play the beginning of that? Little Anthony, remember Little Anthony?
Yeah, yeah,
Tears
yeah.
on My Pillow?
Is that what I'm listening to?
Yes. That's Rebecca.
Ooh. I feel like I'm floating up to heaven.
I believe for every drop of rain that falls, a flower grows.
That's Little Anthony.
Oh, I believe that somewhere in the darkest night, a candle glows.
You know,
I believe
we can break it down.
for everyone.
The way that you produce music is a little old school, but it's beautiful. And by old school, I mean that as a true compliment, as opposed to like the synthesizers. And I mean, that's when I was saying how music has really changed.
Absolutely, yes. But there's
there's a
always
little-
room. There's always room for records like that.
There is definitely room for it. I think, there's a huge market for it. By the way, and it crosses over. That's the nice thing about music and great TV programming and films. It does cross over all ages. I really believe
Timeless.
that. It is very timeless what you do, what you both do.
And there's a little something for everybody on this album. When you're talking about Full Force and some of the dance records, things, arrangements on here.
And we're even putting together a recording. Again, one of my dreams were to merge together classical and hip hop.
Yeah, so Jay-Z?
No. So we got Rebecca singing with an iconic name in classical, Placido Domingo Jr. With
In Love. Oh
hip
my
hop,
God.
we have Eazy-E Jr. And we're doing a merger of the two
Okay,
genres
I
of
love this.
music.
It's like getting, Lady Gaga and Tony Bennett
Tony
together.
Bennett, that's right.
Oh, this is brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, this when
Classical hip hop fusion.
Yeah, and you can do that
You're
because your
calling
voice is so incredible. Is there anything in particular we can play of hers that you think we should pop on there?
Yeah, Light It Up. Can you pull? Oh boy, how are you gonna find that one?
And believe me, Tony can find anything.
Light It Up. If you can find Rebecca and Full Force. Let Let me see.
He can find. I'm telling you, he's good.
Rebecca Holden in full force.
But that's been the fun of this album, and each gentleman has a different range, a different style, and so
There you go.
The challenge of the duet is to make it work.
Could you do from the beginning and top to hear the beginning of it?
Here we go.
Check this out.
Yeah.
Rebecca Holden,
Oh,
full force.
it's kind of like. Oh, this is great. When did you produce this?
Just recently.
It's your time.
We got to go out dancing together, everybody. That's you. Oh, you're great.
Thank you.
Filling us both with a burning desire. Ain't no way we can get any higher. We were meant for each other. Heaven sent.
Real cross section of different genres. I'm telling you.
I need you tonight. Time after time, and let's do it some more.
Okay, let's bring it down. That's not on the new CD, though, is it?
Yeah.
It is.
Oh,
It
yes,
is.
yes.
Oh, wow. See, so there really is such a cross.
Everything.
As a matter of fact,
Everything.
as we speak, it's in Snoop Dogg's desk right now. It's onto his desk.
Okay. Did you really?
Yes.
Wait, did you produce it yet with Snoop Dogg or
No,
you're
no. It's on his desk because the term lighted up and Snoop, and we're trying to get a little,
get the two of you to do something?
maybe.
Oh, would you? Can I go and watch that day when you do that in the studio? I would love to watch how this is produced.
And we're also trying to get Snoop to like endorse it for
He's
Light
so
It Up
cool.
because he's so cannabis oriented. Nice way to say it.
Yeah, that's very clever. Actually, that's very very clever. So well, he responds to most stuff. I mean, he's a great talent.
He's got a huge show on from Martha Stewart now.
Okay, that's what I mean. He crosses over a lot too. Did you see that show? That's hysterical. I mean,
Yes, yes.
two folks that you would never ever expect to be together, and it's a hit.
Yes.
Yeah, I can
Jamie
see this.
Foxx was on it the other day.
Yeah, the other day, Snoop's birthday. Yeah.
I could see this. Any other? We have to go in a few minutes. This went very quickly. So, any story you can tell me that was just, whoa, off the
You know all
off
my
the
stories.
wall.
I know all his stories.
What?
The network was born on your penthouse. Should enjoy that.
Well, no, but not enough people know about the network promotion guys. I'll tell you a better one.
Okay.
Somebody that people would know. People
Okay,
love
yeah,
stories about people they know. Wow.
There's a guy in my building. When I lived in the penthouse in Central Park South, named Jim Peck, who was an angel. An angel meaning he
Backed Broadway
backed
show.
Broadway shows.
Oh, okay.
So
I was going to
on-
say, is he on the baseball team?
So on
okay.
2 occasions, he came to me. He said, "I just went to a Backers audition. It was a cassette at the time.
Yeah.
And the first one he's played me had like 25 songs on it. And one of the songs in very operatic style was I Am What I Am. I called Gloria Gaynor the next day, and I said, I got you next, I Will Survive. And it became a #1 club record all over the world. And the second time he did it with Chess, the show Chess. And he played me 25 songs. I said, that's the hit. It was one night in Bangkok, and I had a #1 record with that.
I have to brag on him just a little bit, and that is his gift, is having an ear. Because when you hear something in a style that's arranged in a Broadway style, and to be able to hear it, that can evolve into a completely different arrangement, and that song is a hit. You have to be able to creatively hear what it can be, not what it is as you hear it right now.
And
Thank you.
your
Good word for
gift
it, yeah.
is your comedic timing. Can we run a little bit of her reel? Do we have a second? We'll just kind of go through a little bit.
Thank you.
You're funny and beautiful.
my
You
God,
really
yeah, she's
play.
very funny.
You play to it. You know that people initially will look at you and go, "Ooh, she's beautiful," and
And
then
then the killings ended. The threat was passed.
That's not comic.
that's okay. We'll get to
And you
it.
were
That's
gone.
William Shatner.
Every time I close my eyes,
I just saw him in the airport.
You
Oh,
were
you think
there.
I was not tempted to say Priceline? But I didn't. I couldn't.
That's serious, too.
Came to tell me to forget it.
hey, it's okay to cry.
After these?
Yeah, I think comedy is
That's
That
all
looks
part
like-
of the investigative.
Oh, here's the...
Hate your
Well, I've got the door. Don't bother.
This is cute.
I had some nice leading men.
Miss,
Well, you can call me Christina. And you're?
Very grateful.
It's Tony Danza attacking.
I have to leave?
We all do.
But, well, you never found my purse, and I don't have any money or my bus ticket back to Middle Falls.
Well, I'm sorry, but...
But I thought the police were supposed to help people.
Very nice, Private Cassidy.
Why, thank you, ma'am. You know, you look right pretty yourself this morning.
How nice of you to notice.
I always try to find the beauty in everything.
Oh, I
How
love
many
this.
of these apartment keys would you like?
50. You can mail 49 of them to the Chicago Bears.
Well, and where would you like the 50th sent?
Just bring it around to my apartment. 3 o'clock then. Just let yourself in.
What was he like to work with?
Oh, he was great.
I'm getting the 2-minute
He was
warning, so
really
okay.
funny.
Really?
Yeah.
Who are some of your favorite leading men that you've had?
Oh, I've had some nice ones, haven't I?
Oh, girl, you did.
Tom
Remington
Selleck and Pierce Brosnan.
Pierce
Tony
it was
Danza.
always, I thought. Oh,
Yeah.
Tony must have been fun to work with.
Yeah.
Anyone who really, you know, that you're still really, really close with and you stay in touch with,
Well,
probably a lot
David
of them.
Hasselhoff wasn't bad.
Yeah. Oh, boy, right? And a
Yeah.
good man. And a good
a
man.
very sweet guy.
A really sweet guy.
Yeah. And he's had longevity in this business because he really wanted it. He was really driven, and you know, it's about pursuing your dream and being willing to do the homework and study your craft.
It's hard work.
And have the discipline to make it happen.
It's hard work. It's discipline. People think that stuff just sort of happens. It can. But you have to put yourself in the right spot for that to happen.
If it's going to last and you're going to make your dream really come true, you have to put in the work.
Yeah. And now you're working together. You're a little
Yes.
power couple. Not really so little. A big time power couple.
We're having a great time.
Yeah, and it shows.
Very
Congratulations.
grateful. Thank
and
you.
when will the album actually be out? When?
This Christmas we're launching it. And by the way, this Sunday is the Carney Awards, and she's going to be performing on there.
Oh, talk about that. Now, that's in Santa Monica because this show goes everywhere. But for those who are here, and
it's
can they
going to
also
be-
watch it on the web too?
Yes, and they're going to air it on Cozy TV, actually.
Okay, I love all these new channels that are popping up. I love this. This is what I mean. It's so exciting. Tell me quickly about that. It's at the Broad.
It's called the Carney Awards, named after Art Carney, and it recognizes and honors all the great character actors who are so much the fabric of any production, but many times you don't know their names. So this is the way to really recognize them. I'm going to be singing the In Memoriam segment for all the wonderful actors we've lost this year, and Dennis Haysbert from 24 and all the Allstate commercials, you know him, will be presenting and introducing my segment. So.
Oh, wonderful. Well, something to look forward to.
Wonderful.
And you're going to be there with John.
I am absolutely going to be there. I'm very, very much looking forward to it, and it'll be a fun evening.
Oh, it'll be a great
really
evening.
funny. Are there still tickets
Produced by
available?
Jim Katz, and I'm sure you can go on the website for the Carney Awards. Yeah.
The Carney Awards.
We
Thank
went
you.
last year. It was amazing.
Yeah, very much looking forward
And you see
to
all
it.
these faces. You don't know who. I said, there's Ned Ryerson. I said, from Groundhog Day. Remember that?
I am great at recognizing faces, and John will go, "Who's that?" And I'm like, "Come on!" I mean, it's Jane Fonda, John. He goes, "Oh," like he will not recognize. In fact, you could walk right by him now, and he'll go, "Who's that?" He does not have facial recognition.
I love that. I don't either.
No, you don't. Usually,
no, all these brilliant minds, but
they're honoring William H. Macy this year. So
oh,
it's gonna be a
he's
special
phenomenal!
time.
It'll be
Yes.
a terrific show.
Oh, you're gonna love it.
Oh, I cannot wait to go. Thank you, and
Good
thank you for inviting me. Actually, we're very, very excited about
thrilled
that.
you're coming.
Thank you, I appreciate it. This is a fun hour, huh?
Great hour.
Yeah, thank you for coming in. I appreciate it.
The Peanut Gallery.
Peanuts. There's hundreds of them in there. Joel Diamond, Rebecca Holden, thank you so much.
Thank you, Deborah.
Really a lot
what
of
a
fun.
fun time.
Yeah. We'll have to do this again, too. Anyway, thank you, everybody, for being here for another fun edition of Deborah Kobylt Live. We will see you next week. Bye-bye.